This
So
conference
welcome
will now
everyone.
be recorded.
So welcome to this session of HANA database security and UI5 Fiori security. My name is Raghu. Let me briefly introduce about myself. So I have close to 14 years of experience, 13 plus, close to 14 years experience, and I have done various greenfield, brownfield rollouts. I have also have AMS experience as well. I've just listed down a couple of the areas of expertise which I have worked on. Currently, I'm working on UI5 and GRC12 mainly. Okay, so that is the area which I'm planning to cover as well. The new areas of HANA database security and the UI5 security. Okay, that is the whole agenda of this entire curriculum. The way we have designed it is that we cater to the needs of the current requirement in the industry for database security and UI5 Fiori security. Okay, so before we begin, I would like to quickly know about you, where you come from, what's your experience, what's your expectation, so that I know how to conduct my classes, or maybe probably I can add or remove or edit the content which we already have. We do not have a fixed content. We keep on driving through, and if I come to know anything new, I keep on adding to the curriculum as well. So I wanted to know your expectation. What's all you have done so far? What is that you're looking out of this course? So if we can go around the table once, and uh, let's start. Probably Charan, you can start. I see your name first. Not able to speak in the meeting. Okay, okay, we'll come back to you later. Ranjit, I hope you guys have no issues with the mic. It'll be good to know your expectations. That is something which I do the beginning of every session. Yeah, Mohammed Jamal, you can probably, I see you have unmuted. Probably you can start.
Yes, Raghav. My name is Muhammad Jamal, and I'm working for Saudi Aramco since last 8 years, working in SAP Security and GRC 10.1.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm now company is going for S4 HANA database within two,
Okay.
3 months. So that's why I need to learn this course.
Okay. Do you have any background about working on S4 HANA, DB, and
No, no
UI5 Fiori?
background. No background in S4 HANA or HANA database, and I'm working in ECC6,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. So, but I know pretty much a little bit about HANA database, that it is a memory-based database and it
Mm-hmm.
saves on column-based, row-based, and a few things. That's all.
Okay.
But
Okay.
no experience in S4 HANA or HANA database itself, just coming from ECC. So I need
Mm-hmm.
to learn all those PFCG, S224, and the authorization piece, and plus the database security as well.
I'll come back to that question. I'll have something to share on that piece. Yeah, thank you, and welcome, Mohammed Jamal.
Thank
Philip,
you.
Can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you.
Okay. My name is Philip Ogbeche. I reside in the United States. I am trying to get into SAP security. I
Mm-hmm.
actually did a course in ECC 6.0. I did a crash course in GRC as well, but I really want to take that back. So what I'm trying to do is get exposed in S4 HANA and Fiori, and
Mm-hmm.
also BW security, because those are the in things here now. So I'm just trying to get my foot wet before I actually start. I've not been in the field actually working with it yet, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
just hoping to get my feet wet by doing basic things, and so that will help me forge forward.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Welcome. Welcome to the sessions.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Narendra.
Yeah,
Can
hi,
you?
Raghu.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hi, Narendra.
yeah. I had 9 years of experience in the IT sectors. So
Mm-hmm.
career starting as a system admin, network admin, the security in the infra admin.
Mm-hmm.
So along with the 1610 system onward starts working on SAP systems. So the starting career I worked as a basis admin.
Okay.
So participate to 2 to 3 implementations on single tier, multi tier, tenant databases.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, moved to security phase and from different client.
Okay. Okay.
There I worked as for ACC6 and HP7 versions upgradations and security perspectives, like
Okay.
implementations of rules and all, 25 key codes and pulled up authorizations and all. So
Okay.
recently we started as a GRC 12 also from 3 years back
Mm-hmm.
for the implementation thing. So I
Okay.
have coming to security in the area. I have 4 years of experience in security and GRC is for 3 years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
So in overall, I'm in SAP from last 6 years onwards. I'm in SAP, but two
Okay.
years goes to basis and the remaining years goes to security and GRC. Now I want to move to completely into security phase.
Oh,
So
okay.
I want to
Okay.
looking for HANA database and Fiori.
Oh, okay. Cool. No
Yeah,
problem.
I used to work on 1610 and 19 series A systems.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
We are
bit
working on
knowledge on
2020.
yeah, a little bit knowledge on the SQL databases and HANA database and taking backups or regular providing the authorizations to users in the
Hmm.
database levels.
Okay, good, good. That'll help. Okay, I see
Yeah,
Charan and Ranjit both are having issues with their mics, but welcome. I see that both of you have around 8 years of experience in security and Fiori. Uh, okay, so let me clarify a couple of things to begin with, right? So when we talk about S4 HANA, right, we are going to answer that question first. That is the point of confusion for many of us who are new to it. So S4 HANA is the suite which is provided by SAP. Okay, it is like a basket of applications which comes along with it. So it is called as S4 HANA suite. Okay, what does that suite contains? That suite contains a normal ABAP stack system, which is earlier we had ECC, right? So we have one ABAP stack system, which is also called as S4 HANA. Okay, let me, if I can show it to you pictorially, probably that will help. Okay, so what do we have? We have a suite of applications, okay, which is called as S4 HANA. Let me just add a text box. Okay, so we have the S4 HANA suite. Okay, this entire thing is the S4 HANA suite. Okay, inside this suite of applications, this is like a basket. Okay, so what do we have? We have multiple applications. The first one we have, sorry, I have some issues with my keypad. Okay, okay, so what do we have? The first one we have, okay, these are multiple applications which are part of that briefcase or the suite. The first one is the ABAP stack. Okay, the next is the HANA database, and then UI5 Fiori. Okay, so these are basically, these are plug and play. Okay, so what you can have whatever you want to have in your suite. The first two are mandatory. To call this as a S4 HANA suite, the first two are mandatory. UI5 Fiori, you can or you may not want it in your package. It's up to you. So this is how SAP markets or provides the S4 HANA suite to the end users. Now, the confusion starts here. The ABAP stack which we have is also called as S4 HANA. Okay. The ABAP stack, earlier we used to call it as ECC, EHP, whatever, right? Now we call the ABAP stack as S4 HANA, which comes along with the HANA database, which makes it as a S4 HANA suite. And the new front end for all these will be your UI5 Fiori. Okay, so this is how it is. Now, what is the target of this curriculum, right? So we are targeting the HANA database part and the UI5 part. Okay, these are the two sectors which we are covering in this curriculum. We are talking about HANA database security and Fiori security. We are not covering the normal ECC security, which was earlier there, your PFCGs, your role builds and all that. We are not including in this course, and I'll tell you the reason why. Okay, so the target audience for this is the one who knows the basics, the very basics, like how do you create a role? You go to PFCG, you put a role name, you put the object transactions, you maintain the SU24, the objects will be built into the role, and you maintain those objects as per the requirement. So these are the basics of role build. Okay, user management, role management, these are the basics. Now that is how we used to work in ECC. With S4 HANA, there is no change in the way you work with your roles. Okay, there is absolutely no change. The only change is coming in ways of your functionalities, like you have your finance functionalities, you had your customer management, vendor management, all of that separately. Now it is all combined into one business partner, right? So those kind of changes are introduced in S4 HANA. In terms of security, it is just like any other upgrade. Okay, so with whatever upgrade you have, like version upgrade or patch upgrade or system upgrade, whatever you used to do in the past, any upgrade will come with your new transactions, right? New transaction, obsolete transaction, new object included, which you will get in SU25, right? So that is the only change which we have in your S4 HANA security and your ECC security. It remains absolutely unchanged. Okay, the only changes which I have pointed out, apart from that, there is no change whatsoever. That is the reason why we are not including S4 HANA security. If you have included S4 HANA, then I need to start with PFCG, I need to start with SU01. It would have taken 2-3 months, right? So we have not included, we have only included the things which are newly added in the scope of security, whatever is new. Okay, we have HANA database security, which was not earlier, which used to be handled by a database administrator. Now we are, as a security practitioners, we are supposed to handle HANA database security. That is something new to us, right? And UI5 Fiori is entirely new and entirely in our scope, and it is it was not there earlier. We have the new front end versions called Fiori. We get this fancy tiles, apps and all that. Okay, so that's why we are covering the new aspects of SAP security. Okay, so this is what the curriculum is designed to cater, and this is what we will be covering: HANA database security and Fiori security. These are the only two sectors we are going to cover. And to answer Mohammed, your question, we are not covering the PFCG, SU01, the basic parts of ECC, although I will touch upon that when we are talking about Fiori, because it requires your PFCG integration there, but not talking extensively about role management. We are not doing that. Okay, so this is the target of this particular curriculum. The agenda is also designed in a similar way. Do you have any questions? Let's take some questions. I believe there will be.
Yeah. Hi, Raghu. Good evening. Abhinandan Kumar this side.
Hi, Abhinandan. I think we didn't get an introduction from
Actually,
you.
I joined late. Yes, I just joined a minute back.
No problem.
So,
Can we have a brief about you? What's your experience? What's your expectation?
yeah, I'm security consultant, and I have almost 4 years of experience in SAP practice. 2 years I have worked in basis and rest in SAP security.
Okay. Okay.
So the thing is that I'm working in SAP implementation project S4 HANA 2020 and Fiori implementation. There I want to as you know, this is a implementation project. We have to design role matrix and all.
Correct.
So are you going to tell about those things or not in this
with respect to
training?
with respect to Fiori, I am going to cover end-to-end role design, right? With when you get Fiori, right? So we have to move. See, earlier, let me tell you the difference, okay? Without Fiori and with Fiori, okay? Without Fiori, what you used to have, you used to have T codes, right? You used to have some business process document where end-to-end processes will be defined for the functional teams. They will also mention transaction codes. You take those transaction code, you design your role, your single role, your composite role, or whatever, right? You used to design it based on the transaction code. Now with Fiori in the picture, don't worry about the transaction code, forget transaction codes, okay? End users, business users will not be using any transaction code ever. Everyone will be using the Fiori apps. So in this course, when we're talking about Fiori, we will talk about end-to-end role design, how we can leverage Fiori apps, what are the tools which are available, what are the resources which we have, which we can use in terms of role design using Fiori apps. Okay, I will also talk about mapping your transaction to an app. Okay, that is all possible. So we are not going with the traditional way of role design. We will go the Fiori way of role design. I will definitely be covering that. Did I answer your question?
Okay, but before going or installing Fiori, we will get S4 HANA. So how
It
we'll
is
do
one
this S4
package.
HANA?
It is one package. So whenever you start designing your role, you start with your apps. Okay, it depends on what is the approach for Fiori you are taking. Okay, I'll talk about the different approaches for Fiori. You can go with
You
Fiori
mean to
first,
say that
where
hub and embedded things?
no, that will come there. Whatever embedded or central hub, doesn't matter. But if you are
Okay.
if you're taking the Fiori first approach, which means that everything will be on Fiori, no transaction. Okay, there are multiple approaches like cherry picking, okay, where you only select 100 apps. You don't want more than that. Okay, there is something called as showcase, where you only select highlight apps, which will be as an advertisement to your end user, and then later on in a 2-year life cycle, you bring on Fiori first. Okay, there are different approaches to Fiori. Okay, so if you have your Fiori first approach where everything will be Fiori, nothing apart from that, where end-to-end processes run on Fiori, we can leverage that in our role design. Okay, if we have cherry picking, we will talk about the role design aspects as and when we get into the curriculum or that particular part of the course, right? We will talk about how you can do that. When there is no Fiori first, you will have to rely on your basic role design using the transactions, and then you add on the
Right.
Fiori apps to it. Yeah,
Yes, correct. So
I am not covering role design with respect to Fiori, with respect to transaction code, but trust me, when we talk about the apps, that will automatically be covered. Okay, because we are only replacing transaction with apps, right? We are only replacing transaction with apps. The methodology which I am going to define in the role design part of Fiori, the same can be used for your transactions as well. Okay, we will definitely cover that.
okay.
Any other questions? Mohammad Jamal,
Nothing from mine.
yeah, Mohammad, I believe I clarified a couple of things which you were expecting.
Yes, Raghav, I understand. That is what I wanted. Basically, you will use PFCG in order to add those apps, am I right?
Correct.
Those
Fiori
tiles.
PFCG.
Yeah,
Yes. Fiori PFCG I'll
th-
cover. Okay. Fiori
that's
and
it.
PFCG
That's what,
integration
yes,
we will
that's
cover.
what I want. Yeah, that's all I want.
That is there.
Nothing else. Yes,
Now
so,
that will
well,
be there.
you answered.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
Yes,
yeah. Thanks. Philip,
thank you.
Ranjit, Chetan, Narendra, any questions before we begin?
No, that's fine. This is basically fine.
Great. Ranjit, Charan, Narendra. Yeah, Narendra.
Basically, the transactions which an applications the Fiori will control or vice versa.
You're going into a very deep aspect of Fiori. We will cover that. The technicalities and all definitely is covered. So Fiori, so I can assure you, Fiori we are doing end to end. Okay, end to end from the very beginning till the very end. We will also cover things which usually security team will not do. Right? Usually security team do not do app extensions, or do not go into the OData services structuring and all that. We will cover most of the things which are done by the ABAP team as well, or the development team, except coding. Wherever there is no coding, we will put our feet into there and we will explore those aspects in Fiori. Okay.
So are you saying that security team does not really do all data services and the ICFs?
No,
We don't, but
no,
it's good
we
for us to
only
just know
activate.
about it.
No,
We
we
activate them.
activate them. We don't create OData services. That is
Okay.
totally development activity.
Okay. Okay.
So wherever there is no coding, ABAP coding or Java coding required, that part we are not doing. Anything apart from that, we will touch upon in our Fiori. We will deep dive into Fiori. So trust me, there will be no problems in that. Charan and Ranjit have texted saying it's good. Okay, that's good. So I hope the curriculum is clear. Okay, let's begin. Okay, so yep, so this is what I'm going to cover in the database security aspects. Okay, firstly, I am considering that you are totally unaware of what HANA database is. Okay, Narendra, Abhinandan, probably you might have worked on basis. You might probably know what is already here. But what I am trying to do, that for a security practitioner, what is important? Okay, what are the things which are important? I am only covering that. I have oversimplified a lot of things, but to understand the entire aspect of HANA, what makes it special and all that. Okay, it is oversimplification. It's not the entire architecture which I have brought in here. Okay, it is oversimplified version, but I believe it is enough for a security practitioner to understand how it works. Okay, then we will move into HANA tools. Okay, we have HANA Studio. DBA Cockpit is something which we are still working on. I'm not covering DBA Cockpit. It is just the overview of the tool, but I'm not covering DBA Cockpit or Cloud Cockpit. Okay, these two things it requires multiple, but I will talk about Web ID. HANA Studio and Web ID are the basically the two tools which we'll be using. Okay, I will talk about the differences as well. Okay, what is Web ID, when it is used, what is HANA Studio, what is the base of it. Okay, all of that will be covered that. Then we are talking. We will start the aspects of database security with information views. Okay, these are information views. Okay, we are. Let me be very honest and very clear in the beginning. We are not supposed to create any information view in a live environment. Okay, this is not something which a security practitioner will do, but I am covering this because to have an understanding of what lays ahead, right? So when we are building our privileges, okay, when we are building our privileges, we need to know what is our information view, how it is designed. So what I am trying to do is I'm covering the information view, okay, in detail, all the three views which I have listed over there. Okay, I have not covered CDS views, right? CDS is also a kind of information view. I'm not covering that, but we will cover the basic native HANA information views, which is attribute, analytic, and calculation view. We will build our own database. Okay, I have a sample database which is very simple, so that it is very easily relatable. You can come up with your own data. I'm not going to use anything which is predefined. Okay, we will create our own database. We will create our own information view using our own data. Then we will build our privileges on our the information views which we have built. Okay, everything will be done within the sessions itself. Okay, then after information view, we move into the core security aspects of what we will be doing. Right, the core security aspects include the privileges. Okay, system privilege, object privilege, package privilege, application privilege, and analytical privilege. Okay, the top four is something which we cannot build. Okay, these are system defined ones or indirectly created ones. Okay, we cannot directly create these privileges. The one privilege which we can create is analytical privilege. Okay, we will deep dive into analytical privilege. We will see the types of analytical privilege, what is a dynamic analytical privilege, how to build it. Okay, all those things we will be covering into the analytical privilege part. Then we will run into role concept. Okay, how are roles built in database? Okay, these are not PFCG roles. Okay, there are types of roles where we can call it as a runtime role, repository role, or design time role. Okay, these kind of role concepts we will try to understand. And then we will come into user management. What are the types of user? Who is the actual intended users on a database? Right, that is the most important question. Whom should you create? What should be the type of user? Okay, what are the things which you need to get access to? Okay, these kind of questions we will answer in the user management part. And we will also talk about role and privilege assignment to the user. What is the right way of doing it? Okay, all those questions, anything which you can come up with. We will also talk about transports briefly. How do we transport these things? I have not included that, but it is covered in the topics which we have, right? We will talk about the transport aspects as well. Okay, so this is what we will be covering in your DB security, S4 HANA security. When I say S4 HANA security, it is the HANA database security aspect of the S4 HANA. Any questions on the agenda? Do you think it is comprehensive, or do you think you want to add anything else to this? Anyone? Anything? Yes, no, maybe?
So far, it looks like it's
Clear.
comprehensive enough. So, unless somebody else has another objection, but this seems comprehensive enough to me.
Great. Thanks. Narendra, yes?
Yeah, clear, Raghu, no issue.
Great. Thank you. Okay, one more thing before I begin. Okay, I want these sessions to be a dialogue and not a monologue. Okay, the more you ask questions, the more you interact in the sessions, the more you will get out of it. Okay, or else I will go on a set path of, okay, this I am going to cover this today, this today, I'll finish that off and we will done. I don't want that to happen. I want more interaction. Be vocal. Maybe acknowledgement is something which I anticipate from you guys, at least a yes, no, or else I'll feel that, okay, I'm disconnected, maybe I will I'm not heard, or maybe I'm not able to hear you. Those kind of confusion creep into my mind. I just to avoid that, I want these to be interactive sessions. Okay, please be vocal about your questions. There are no questions which are stupid or anything, right? Every question is important. The more you ask, the more you learn. Okay, thank you.
Raghu, I have one question. Maybe
Sure.
I am wrong, but I want to understand things.
Yes.
Like as a security consultant, earlier days we were assigning roles, means or creating role or modifying role in PFCG. But why this in HANA Studio, this role design you were saying, why this is required? Means in which case it is required?
Okay, I'll tell you. So HANA database provides a powerful engine to do analytics. Okay. So what do you
Okay.
mean by your information views? Okay. Information views are nothing but there is data. Okay. There is raw data in your schemas or not database. Okay. Let's not talk about schema. There is a database.
You were
You
saying
have,
for BI people, BIBO people.
it is not just for BI. Okay. It's not just for BI. It's for everywhere. Okay. It's even for S4
Okay.
HANA, your ABAP stack as well. Okay. Hear me out. So there is your raw
Okay.
data. You need some structuring to that data. Okay. You need structuring
Okay.
to that data. Now,
Mhm.
how do you structure the data is using your information views. Okay. CDS views will also do the same thing. It structures a available raw data into something which can be consumed in a report. Okay, something which can be flashed onto in terms of a graph or anything, right? Okay, that is what the capability is given in your information view. Now, how do you control the visibility to that particular data extract is something which you can control using your privilege and your roles. Okay, HANA can also do reporting. HANA itself can do reporting, but there are many third-party applications which are usually used, like Spotfire, Analysis for Office, or your Fiori, right? So whatever you create here, right, it can be consumed in your Fiori apps, or it can be directly used from your Spotfire or your Analysis Office, and from there you get the authorized or restricted view of that particular report. Okay, so we are extracting data directly from the database. This is why your database security plays a very important role. Okay, earlier you were impervious to this part of the this side of the spectrum, right? You are only working on your BI, your info type, your info cube and whatever. But what goes within those info types and info cubes is what we are trying to know here.
Okay.
Okay, so this forms your
Okay.
backend.
But
I mean, you, yeah.
Raghu, I just want to understand thing. On Oracle also we can install Fiori, Oracle database, not possible?
It is possible. It is possible.
Okay.
But
Then when it is possible on Oracle database, because in my earlier
no,
client I have seen they
hear
have
me out.
installed on Oracle.
Hear me out. Okay.
Okay.
It is possible. Doesn't mean that you will get full functionality of Fiori. Okay.
Right.
I'll talk
Right.
about that in one of the slides today. Right. So there is a very small population of apps which you can deploy on a non-database, non-HANA database systems. Okay, around 100 or 200 or whatever, right? It's very small compared to 14,000 applications which Fiori has. You can only deploy fraction of it on
Got
non-HANA
it.
database systems. Yeah.
Okay, okay. But when we are, let's say, a company is using only 60 application or 60 functionalities of SAP Fiori on top of
hmm
Oracle,
hmm
then means how I have not seen people are means doing this role for Oracle and all.
You are mixing two things. Okay, Fiori security has nothing to do with HANA database security.
Okay.
Okay, Fiori
Yeah, I
security has
understand.
nothing. Yeah. Now,
Hmm.
when it comes to DB, okay, earlier it used to be done by a DB administrator, Oracle admin or Sybase admin or MaxDB admin, whoever it is, right? With
Okay.
HANA, what SAP have done, they have differentiated two aspects of it. The HANA database actual concepts of how, okay, there are multiple actors in a database, right? Security is one of them. We cover the
Hmm.
privileges, roles, and access part. Okay, there comes the BI team who works about the information view, the CDS views. Then ABAP teams are also involved when they are developing their CDS views on this. Okay, the basis team is also involved in setting up all these, right? Raw data
Hmm.
import, building of a database, building of a schema. The basis team is also involved. Now, what I
Right.
am doing in this here is I am giving a concise view of all the other teams what they are doing, but we are going deep dive into what security has to do. Okay, the first part
Okay.
here, the second part, the third part. Okay, these three we are not going to do anything here, but to do the fourth and fifth part we need to know at least the brief of what exactly happens in the system, right? If I directly start with privileges, you will be bonkers. If you don't understand information view, then I feel that, okay, learning analytical privileges is not going to be much as efficient as compared to when you know information views, right? So that's why I have included these aspects here.
Okay. 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 I'm not saying that it's okay, it's fine. But I want to understand something which I'm not getting. I am,
Yeah, you can phrase your question, you have time.
yes, yes, yes. But can you tell one example when a security consultant, let's say that I have installed S4 HANA and I have Fury, S4 HANA 1709 or say 2020.
hmm
And when will this scenario comes when we as a security consultant I have to do a design role for this design role in HANA database.
Okay, let me tell you. Okay, there is something called as CDS views, right? Core data services. Okay, core
Okay.
data services is something which replaces all these three information views. Or
Okay.
if at all that information view is built, the core data service or core data CDS views can consume the existing informations views in itself. In that case, if you are going entirely on CDS, you don't have to do database security. Okay, you don't have to do any privileges, you don't have to do anything, because everything will be hard coded in your CDS, in your ABAP CDS or your HANA CDS views. Whatever they are building, the development team will build. They will give you a ready-made OData service which can be consumed in Fiori. Okay, that is one aspect. If you are going entirely on CDS, you will not even touch this part. Okay, you will not even
Okay.
have access to database. Now, if
Mm.
the CDS is partially used, partially you are using your BIBW, which is your old system, right? Or even if in case if you are using before HANA, right, it's your new system. In that case, there is an interaction between your database views and your the front end system, which is your BI system or your S4 system or your Fiori, right? In that case,
Mm.
you have to build your privileges, and the users need to be available in the database. Their presence is absolutely essential with the same user ID as it is on BI or before HANA, right? Or even in case that there are advanced applications like innovation management, IM. okay, or PLM, PPM. There are many cloud solutions which are coming from SAP, which also requires a presence of the user on the database itself. In those cases, you will have to build your absolute privileges, your dynamic or your static privileges, and you need to make sure that the user is restricted in the database access as well. Okay,
got it.
so that is when you need your database. The number of users having access to database is very, very small. Okay, usually in case of complete CDS, you don't have to create any business users on database. Okay, everything will be done from Fiori. All the analytical applications, everything is driven from CDS, and from CDS into your app, and the app will do the analytics part, right? Now, when it is not entirely on CDS, like let's say if you have your BI/BW system, then you need to make sure who are the users who will be created in the database, what is the type of the user, what are the privileges which we get. Okay, that the input you will get from multiple teams. You will get the input from your BI team, you will get the input from your BAP team. Then you need to include those restrictions into your information views, and then build a privilege and assign that accordingly.
Okay, got it.
Okay, if you have, see, 90% of the projects do not require this, because everything is running on CDS these days. If you are in that 10%, consider yourself lucky that you are doing this. Okay, because by doing this, you will understand the core of wherever it is happening, right? So not every project will give you access to your database. It's only the basis people who will be having access. Most of it will be done by your BI ABAP team, where they build CDS and they directly consume it. Okay, if it is not the case, then consider yourself lucky. But having said that, whenever you face an interview, you do it or you don't do it, these are the things which will come, and they expect you to know this. Okay, because they don't know if they how they are going to do. Okay, they can be multiple projects, some of them require a database and some of them do not require a database. But when you are trying to look out for a new security horizon, these are the things which you have to know.
Right.
Okay, great.
Right.
Okay, let's go to
Thanks for
no
clarifying
problem.
this.
No problem at all. Okay, let's talk about Fiori. Okay, what we are going to do in your Fiori security, right? So we will start from the very beginning. We will try to understand what is Fiori, okay, why it was brought in the first place, what is the things which are new in Fiori. Okay, we will talk about that in introduction to Fiori. Then we will talk about the ways of deployment. Okay, as someone already said, there is a central hub deployment and there is on-prem. On-prem is also called as embedded. Okay, on-prem means a lot of different meanings, so I'll replace that with embedded deployment. Okay, it's called as embedded deployment and central hub deployment. Okay, these are the two ways you can deploy your Fiori. We will talk about that in detail, and whatever follows after that, right, we will always have two perspective. How are you going to do with hub deployment, and how are you going to do things with embedded deployment? Okay, we will talk about both the aspects going forward. Then you have we will step into the end user and see what is that Fiori gives us. Okay, what is the advantage with the end user will realize, the business user. Okay, how will he realize, what are the options which he's getting from Fiori? We will look at that. Then we will go a little more technical. Okay, we will talk about the Fiori apps. Okay, we will talk about the types of apps. We will see in depth into Fiori apps library. What is Fiori apps library? What are the things which we get there? How we can leverage Fiori apps library? It is a huge database of information. It has a wealth of information on Fiori apps. We will try to explore as much as possible, okay, using Fiori apps library, and we will see how we can use it in our design. Then we will go a little more technical. We will talk about what are catalogs, what are groups. These are the building blocks of your Fiori. Okay, catalogs in particular. We will talk about designing, building a catalog, adding a catalog. What are the things which we need to consider? Okay, what are the things which we need to talk about when we talk about role design? Okay, how are we going to design catalog? What are the different types of catalog which we can bring in? How we can reference it? All those things related to catalog and group we will talk about in this part. Then we will talk about your authorization, your PFCG and Fiori integration. Here is where we talk about the role design aspects as well. Okay, how is that we can use Fiori as a yardstick in terms of designing your role? Okay, when you have Fiori first. we will talk about these in the PFCG integration or authorization. All your PFCG, your role creation, your all of that is covered in this part. Then we talk about the deployment approaches. As I was saying earlier, we have multiple deployment approaches. We have showcase approach, we have cherry picking, we have Fiori first, we have combination of these two, or one of these, which is called as a hybrid model. Okay, we will talk about those deployment approaches. Then we will talk about what are the new advanced tools which we get with Fiori 3.0. Okay, there are multiple transactions, there are multiple new applications which are in-house, which we can leverage, which was not there earlier. Now Fiori has introduced, or SAP has introduced multiple transactions which are called as tools, where we can use it to better our design or to better troubleshoot these things. Okay, we will see the service library, we will see all of that new. There are multiple things, we will talk about that. Okay, in this part we will also talk about the SAP activate methodology. Here when I say activate methodology, we are not talking the entire 6 phases of activate methodology. We are only talking one particular topic of it, which is called as rapid activation. Okay, it is called as rapid activation. What is rapid activation, how it is done, why it is useful, we will talk about rapid activation here. Then we will talk about spaces and pages. Okay, this is something new. Okay, what are spaces, what are pages, is it replacing groups, is it replacing catalog? We will try to answer all those here. Then there is a 15-minute topic. I put it aside as a separate header because it is important of what what SAP thinks that your Fiori roadmap should be, right? SAP has some recommendations of how exactly you can go and deploy Fiori to your organization. We will talk about that. It's 10-15 minutes. There is one slide. I will talk about that. Then we will talk about troubleshooting. Okay, troubleshooting is not something which I'm covering only at the end, but we will talk about troubleshooting throughout the session. Okay, I just put it here so that we don't forget that it is also covered. We'll talk about traces, we'll talk about error analysis, we'll talk about the transactions which are used, we'll look at the service library also, right? We will talk throughout the course. It is not that I'm going to talk about only at the end of the session. We will cover it throughout. Whenever we start with catalogs, whenever we start doing our practicals, we will talk about troubleshooting as well. This is what I have designed for Fiori. If there is anything new which comes up as I am working, right, there is something called as what is that, app enhancement. We'll talk about that. Whatever comes new, I will put it in the course. Okay, it's not that we are only restricted to the curriculum which we have, but there are few things which I may not be able to cover. I will say that outright. Whenever you bring up that question and say that okay, this is out of context, then I will rightly say that okay, this is out of context, I'm not going to cover this. Any questions, doubts, queries, anything for the Fiori part?
No, clear, Raghu.
Great. Others?
No, not at
Any
all.
questions? Anything which is burning up? I mean, anything in your project which you are facing and you want to know if it is covered or not? I'll be happy to answer.
No, clear, Raghuv. Raghuv, I need to know, actually, I'm not sure this is the right time to ask. Can we schedule this class in evening time instead of early in the morning? It's gonna be for me. It's gonna be like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm in Saudi Arabia, so I did talk to this the company tech guy. He was saying that we can discuss this with the instructor Raghuv.
Sure, we can discuss.
Yes.
Suresh?
So
Raghu, let me take this decision, just after discussing with all the students. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
Yes, we can discuss with if it is convenient for all of the candidates.
Yeah. Sure. I'm open for suggestions. Yep, definitely.
Okay, that's all. A perfect curriculum. I like it. That's what I need to learn.
Thank you. Thanks for the compliment. Okay. Any other questions before we begin? I just wanted to briefly describe about, I know we are already running late. Okay, anyways, I will be covering this in the first session. Okay, I just wanted to introduce what or how exactly our courses will be running. Okay, I just wanted to introduce Fiori to you guys. One more thing I wanted to tell you, that we do not have any presentation, right? We were not going through presentations to complete our sessions. Everything will be hands-on. We will be logging into the system. You will have the access. I'll be using one system. We will be doing all those things during the sessions itself, and I will ask you to do it when we are off the sessions. You can practice on your own. You will be having access. You can practice, and if you hit a roadblock, you come back in the next session. We dedicate the first 10 minutes to answering your queries, right? So that's how it is. We do not have any presentations or anything where I just run through it to complete the course. No, I'm not going to do that. It is going to be very dynamic. Okay, whatever comes during that day, we will cover it, and I will try to answer uh, almost all the questions which you throw at me. If I am able to answer it immediately, that is great. Okay, I feel proud about myself. If I don't get the answer immediately, I will take time and I'll come back to you with that answer, because not everybody knows everything. So I'm also a student, right? So what I'll do, I'll get back to you. I will do some research. I will check with my resources, and then I'll get back with an answer. But I will try to answer almost all your questions. Okay, that's how we have been running. It's been how many sessions? I mean, I don't remember. 12th session, I think. This is the 12th batch, which if 11th or 12th batch, I don't remember, which we are doing successfully doing. And this is we are trying to continue the same with a lot of additions, right? So whatever comes new, we are going to add it here. Okay, great. Sorry. Okay, let's talk about Fiori. Okay, I'm not going to run through all of this. This is the only presentation which we have. Okay, this is for the demo. This is the only presentation which we are going to have. Doesn't mean that we don't have material. Okay, we will send you materials. There are a bunch of materials which we have. Also, we have SAP recommended course material. Probably I will share it with you guys. So that's not a problem. Okay. Now, what is Fiori? Okay, what we are going to see in this short session is that what makes it special. How is it compared with traditional GUI? Okay, Fiori on S4 HANA and Fiori on ECC, right? This is something which someone asked earlier on different database. Okay, we will see that difference very quickly. Then we will see what is a Fiori launchpad, what is it different, what are the things which we see, and then we will conclude this the part. Okay, so Fiori means flower, okay, in Italian or in Latin, I believe, right? Which means it is very beautifully done. We are moving from a standard GUI screen to an entirely HTML based screen. Okay, we are running it on browsers. We are running it in terms of apps on phones or your tablets. Okay, it is entirely mobile. Okay, this is SAP mobility at its best, right? So no need for a user to remember a transaction. Okay, that is the main thing which Fiori brings in, right? We have flashy tiles, okay, which are very descriptive about what they are doing, right? They are cleanly and neatly arranged or organized in terms of groups in your launchpad. What is called as a launchpad is your front page for your Fiori. Then what all users will get is one simple link. Okay, there is no need for SAP logon pad to be installed in the user's computer at all now. Okay, there is no need of a business client as well. Okay, all you need is a link. That link can be embedded in your intranet page. As soon as you open your browser, your company's intranet page will, and there is one link called Fiori. You click and you are in. Okay, all SSO enabled may be there or may not be there. You have to enter your password and all that comes later, but you are in just with a click of it, right? With the click of a button, you are into your SAP ERP system, right? And then you start transacting using very visible tiles. Okay, that's how Fiori is different than your SAP GUI. Okay, so that's what I was trying to explain. What makes it special is the same thing which we have, the mobility aspect of it, right? You can use it on your phone, on the run, on the tablet, on your laptops, whatever your company decides. You can restrict it as well, right? If you don't want your users to use on phone, on tablets, you can do that. Okay, if you want it to be open, you can do that. Okay, that flexibility is also there. Okay, that's what make Fiori special. Okay, now if I compare Fiori with GUI, okay, I just have some screens. Now let's say you want to change a purchase order. Now you need to remember ME22N. Okay, now to see if there is a purchase order which is open, which you want to change, you need to go into some other transaction. Okay, go into that aspect, copy that number, /n, come back to ME22N, put that purchase order number, and then do your work. You are moving from one transaction to another transaction in order to complete one simple job, right? Now when it comes to Fiori, right, this is how it looks. Very, very flashy. There are it's just like any of your web page. Okay, there are tiles which will tell you what exactly has to be done if it is anything open. Okay, Fiori also talks about something called as in-app navigation. Okay, what in-app navigation does is that you can move from one app to another app within the app itself. Okay, that app has connectivity to other app. Okay, it is just as simple as you going through or filling any online form, right, or probably applying for a job on LinkedIn. Okay, it will take you directly. So similar things are there in your Fiori. It is empowered with in-app navigations and links which are easily accessible. Okay, so you can go from in previously where you have to use multiple transactions, here one app links to the other app automatically and you can go through that. Okay, so that's how visibly it is different. Okay, and accessibility wise also it is very, very convenient for a business user who don't want to remember any of these transactions, right? He can see what he has to do and just click on it and get the access to. Okay, that's how your Fiori is. Okay, now okay, I just explained the same thing here, right? So now it is very, very simple. If you see here, there are hyperlinks. Let me take a pointer. If you see these hyperlinks, right, all these hyperlinks, these are in-app navigation links. You click here and you go directly go to that supplier. Okay, you can directly go to the supplier, you can directly open the PO, you can do a lot of stuffs which in previous GUI version you have to rely on a different transaction. Okay, that's how your Fiori is different than your SAP GUI. Now let's compare how Fiori works on S4 HANA with a HANA database and how work with ECC with a some other database like Oracle or DB5, right? Now, one example is on Fiori apps library. Directly you can check. Okay, this is the snapshot of Fiori apps library. This was taken like 6 months back, I think. Okay, there were 12,000 till date. We have around 14,000 apps. Okay, which are developed by SAP ready to consume. Okay, ready to consume apps, there are around 14,000. Let's go with the same number. We have 12,798 apps, okay, which are the all apps. Okay, now if I put a filter criteria of only ERP, okay, which means these do not require HANA database to be a mandatory ones. How many apps do I get? I get only 283 apps. Okay, I only get 283 apps out of 12,000. It's very fraction of the available apps which are there, which can be deployed on a non-HANA environment. Okay, that's why it is always advisable to have Fiori along with your HANA. That will, in that way, you will realize the entire power of Fiori. Okay, so this is the very visible difference. There are multiple other differences. You cannot run fact sheets, you cannot run analytics to this entire capability. Okay, there are multiple things, but this is a very, very simple example of why we are not prescribing or advising Fiori to be used on other databases or on ECC for that matter. Okay, now let's look at the launchpad. Okay, this is something which the user gets access to. Okay, what are the things which we have in the Fiori launchpad? Okay, there is a home page, there is a navigation menu. Okay, all of these. Okay, the first thing is it provides rows which are mapped to the tiles. Okay, where we can bundle them into different groups. Okay, based on, there are multiple group design workshops which happens. How you want to design your group, what are the things which you want to keep visible, what are the things which you don't want to be visible on the launchpad. Okay, there are multiple things. So for example, if there is a month end closure or a year end closing app, you don't want the user to see it every day. He is going to use it once in a month or once in a year, right? There is no point of having that tile or an app on the launchpad. We can hide it. Doesn't mean that we are removing the access. The access will be there, but we don't have to see that on the launchpad. Okay, all these possibilities are available on the Fiori launchpad. Multiple search options, right? There are multiple connectors which can be. We will talk about the search and notification. We will talk about user assistance. Okay, we will talk about action menus as well as we go further, right? And then there is in-app navigability, right? The one which I was talking about. There is in-app navigation. All these links link to some other apps. There are more links which you click here, you will be reachable to multiple apps from within an app. Okay, That's how beautifully Fiori is designed, and all apps talk to each other. There is also a control mechanism. You can make sure that, okay, if you don't want that link to be enabled, you can also always have that object level control. We will talk about those as well. That's about what I wanted to cover with Fiori. The HANA database part, I am planning to start with the DB part. So I will talk about the database demo, whatever I have here, right? All these in memory, row and column based, compression, architecture, HANA suite. HANA suite I already explained. What do you mean by S4 HANA suite? I already did that. We'll talk about all these aspects in our first session. Any questions? I'm open to any questions, not just on this part which we had, but overall anything which has come up to your mind, anything which you think should be part of the curriculum.
Yeah, Raghu, we have GRC box 10 version. With the Fiori
Sorry,
work on the next. Hello, Raghu, are you able to hear me?
I can hear you.
We have GRC box version 10, V100. So either Fiori is compatible for that. Do I need to upgrade it for?
Yes. No. It is compatible.
Okay. The second question is here. All the applications are one-to-one, relations. Am I right? Like if you
No,
do some change settings in the one application, that will impact other application or
sorry,
individual.
I didn't get that question. Can you rephrase it?
Yes. So in the Fiori launch, some applications are there. No, you said some applications are. Is there a application between interlink?
There are many apps which are interlinked to each other. Just
Okay.
like your transactions, right? There are something called as called transaction or calling transaction. Okay. Similarly, you have multiple apps which are linked to each other.
Okay.
For example, you have a display purchase order app, right? There is a change purchase order app. You
Yeah.
have display purchase order app. That purchase order number will be a hyperlink. You click on that, you want to edit, it will go to change purchase order app from within itself. Yeah, that's how it is designed.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions? Yeah, Mohammed.
Hello. Yes, Raghu. We are using GRC access control and process control and risk management. Once we move to HANA database, do we have to make any changes, configuration level, or what do we need to do once we move to HANA database?
So currently on what database do you have?
Oracle.
Oracle ECC, right?
Yes, sir.
So the
Yes.
first thing you need to do, and you also have GRC, you said?
Yes, GRC access control, risk management, and process control, all three.
Okay. So all these three, okay, whatever GRC aspects are there, right? It can run independent of database. Okay.
Okay.
But when you bring in a new database, right? When you are changing, it's a big implementation project, which is like a 2-year project, right? You bring in
Okay.
you're changing your database, you are moving from ECC to S4. There are multiple connectors which needs to be changed on the GRC front as well.
Okay, like
Okay.
RFC connection and those.
All of that, yes,
Okay.
all of that. It has to be integrated with HANA.
Okay.
Okay. When you also get Fiori, okay, your GRC 12. If you have GRC, do you have 12 or 10?
10 we have.
10. Okay. So when you bring in HANA, you will automatically, or it is a choice again, but most of the clients automatically go to GRC 12, which is again integrated with Fiori as well to its highest capacity, right? So where
Yes.
you can, your GRC front end is entirely different. Okay. It is not like your NWBC screen, and entirely it will be UI5 Fiori.
Okay.
That has to be taken care when you move from your Oracle to HANA.
Okay. So we supposed to change it to Fiori, or it will
No.
come in a
There are multiple teams. See, there are
okay.
multiple teams which are involved in these kind of decision making, right? It is majorly your basis team who will be setting up the connectors.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So what you have to do is that you adjust your workflows and your rule set wherever that is being called. You need to adjust that. Mostly it will not be there, but the backend part will take care. Your GRC rule sets, your process control, your access control, your owners, your all of that, okay, will remain as is. It has
Okay.
nothing to do with your database.
Okay.
Okay. The connectors part, wherever it is linked, that has to be changed. That will be done by basis.
Correct. Correct. So only the Fiori, the front end will look different. That's all.
Yes. If you are moving to
Okay.
GRC 12, then it's a different
Yes.
story altogether. You have to upgrade your GRC. You need to work on your rule set. All of that will come again.
Okay. Okay. That's clear. Thank you.
No problem. Anything else before we wind up? Any questions for
Yeah.
me?
Okay. The schedule. Can we talk now? Schedule if this is the perfect timing.
I'll leave that up to Suresh. Suresh?
Mohammed, I'll give you a call.
Raghu,
Okay.
final question. So by end of the
Yes, sir.
session, the fundamental of the this class. So can we implement with or ourselves to Fiori security part? Can I implement
Definitely
myself?
yes. Definitely yes.
Yeah.
You can do it all alone.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
Abhinandan, any questions? Philip?
No, as of now, no.
Philip, any questions?
No questions right now.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see if because I know Mohammed was asking about the time, and I'm kind of supporting the time of doing it at this time if it's convenient with everybody else. But other than that, I don't have any questions right now.
Okay. If you anybody do not have any question, I'm open for compliments or comments as well. So it's not just restricted to your questions. I'll be happy to hear some comments or some compliments, whatever it is. Just kidding. Anyways, thank you, everyone. Okay, great to have this session today. I hope we will start soon. This one.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Yes.
Raghu.
Thanks,
Thanks.
everyone.
Thank you, Raghu.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
Bye.
very
you.
much.
Thank you, Raghu. Thanks, Suresh.
Bye.
Thank you, Raghu. Appreciate it. It was a nice
Thanks.
session.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.